Hello, and thank you for being there. I'm going to show you the project that I have done for Kodoeba challenge, which is just some flashcards that you can use to practice languages, and I'm going to show you how to set up the project locally. Okay, so I'm here in the web page of the repository, and we are just going to follow the instructions. We will need Python, we'll need MySQL, and Python virtual environment. So the first thing we will have to do will be set up a database with Tatoeba sentences. And this is the first step we are going to do. Now let's just follow these steps. Okay, first thing we have to download the repository here. I'm going to download it, and it's about 40 megabytes, and I'm going to pause the video and follow when it has downloaded. Now I have my project. I have uncompressed it in this folder, and now we are going to create the database. Well, we have to create a config.txt file with this information. Okay, so in the folder where we have the project, we will have a file like this one with our MySQL user and MySQL password. Then we just run the following instruction: MySQL -u user -p less than, and the file is called db_create.sql. It's going to ask us our MySQL password, and now we will have our database created. Then what it says is we're going to need a folder to download the files. Okay, and this folder is called here Tatoeba, in our home directory Tatoeba. So we can either create that directory, or we can, here in this file tatoeba.sh, we can edit this line and edit where these files are going to be downloaded. Now the next step is to execute. Well, these instructions are best suited to Linux, okay, and I created a shell file which accelerates a project, which is called tatoeba.sh, and we're going to run this file, which is going to download Tatoeba files for sentences and links, and compress these files and load them onto the database that we have created. Okay, it requires the password, and now it has started to download the files. So I'm going to pause the video until this process has finished. Okay, now it has downloaded the sentences. It required the MySQL password, and it loaded the sentences and links into our database. Now we need one more step, which is a step which will add 2 columns and some indexes to the database to improve performance, and this is what we are going to do now by means of this instruction, which is called db_postprocessing.sql. It requires our password, and this is the longest step. It can take between 20 and 30 minutes, but it's a necessary step for the web page to work, so we need to be patient. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, now the script has ended, and now we can proceed with the next steps. I can show you that we now have the database. If we go to a database manager and we choose the name of the database is Tatoeba KRS, then we will see that there are 2 tables: sentences Here we are, our sentences and links. Okay, when the links between sentences and the languages that we added. And now, yes, we can. Next steps we have to do is activate our virtual environment and install requirements. So let's go to our directory and activate virtual environment. And now install the requirements with Python, pip3 install -r requirements.txt. Okay, I have already installed those requirements, but you will probably see some progress bars when you do that. And now we are going to execute our main file, which is called api.py. So Python api.py. And now, thanks to Flask, which is a Python library to do web apps, we have our API running. So we can check it with this example. This will serve 50 random sentences from English to Greek. Okay, here we go. In this case, it returns pairs of sentences. In this case, it also includes transliteration of Greek, because transliteration is included for 9 languages using some Python libraries. Okay. If we reload, we will see different sentences. Okay. All right, and now I'm going to demonstrate to you the front part, which is the web page that shows the flashcards and which uses this API. Well, it says here that it is necessary to have a preloaded list of languages indicating which target languages are available for each one of them. Well, it refers to this file, which is called available languages.json, and this says that if we choose Georgian, the program will only show English, Russian, and Turkish, which in this case would be the languages for which there are more than 100 translations from Georgian, and only sentences which are shorter than 70 characters are taken into account for my program. Okay. So this file is included in the repo. So if you run this script here, it will be updated. So if maybe some more connection will be created, as there will be probably more sentences when you download them in this step, but I am not going to do this step now. Okay, and finally I'm going to run localhost :5000, and this will show our program, our flashcard program. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate it without touching anything in the first place. It's going to take a few seconds until it retrieves the sentences, because English... Okay.
No matter what game he plays, he always wins.
No importa qué juego juegue, él siempre gana.
Did you enter the singing contest?
¿Entraste al concurso de canto?
I love fish.
Me encanta el pescado.
What's the best way to punish a dog?
¿Cuál es la mejor forma de castigar a un perro?
The man is starving.
El hombre se está muriendo de hambre.
Okay, I'll stop it and I will show you a little bit of how it works. It's very simple. Here you choose the languages that you want to use, and then if I change here for another language, the right side select will also change to the languages that we saw before. Okay, so we can choose any combination we want. Okay. You can see some languages have romanization provided by some Python libraries that I added. These languages are Russian, Greek, Georgian, Armenian, Arabic, Hindi, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. And some of the languages include text-to-speech capabilities provided by Web Speech API, which works very well in Google Chrome, which is the browser I recommend to use here. And we have some controls here, and I'm going to explain them to you. If we can change the number of flashcards to any number we want between 1 and 100. So here it's going to show 3 pairs of flashcards, and then it's going to stop. Alright. The next option allows us to choose that we want the speed at which translations are shown to be automatic, although we can change the speed of milliseconds per character. If we reduce this speed, it's going to read faster. Okay, I recommend to leave the default values, but you can choose whatever you want. Okay. If I reload the page, you will see that our preferences are being saved. This is because we are using a feature of the browser called local storage, which you can see here, local storage, and we can clear it, and then if I reload the page, it's going to show the defaults again. Okay. All right, we can choose if we want the sentences to be read aloud for the languages for which it's available. For example, in this case Spanish, I can choose, for example, Japanese, and we're going to see that the sentences are effectively read aloud by the Web Speech API. Okay.
I'll do that first thing in the morning.
明日の朝真っ先にそれを片付けます。
A wise person profits by his mistakes.
賢い人は転んでもただでは起きない。
The news was sensational.
Okay. And this, when we choose this option for a language that has TTAs available, this reading speed rate overrides this one in the top. Okay, so when it is read, it uses this one, and I'm using here the rates that are used by the Web Speech API. If you put a greater number here, it's going to be faster, but we can choose, for example, to use a faster speed for our mother tongue and a lower speed for the language we are learning. Just for example, I'm going to show you. Let's wait a few seconds until it retrieves the sentences.
What did you want to do?
何がしたかったの
I will return at 6:30.
6時半に戻ります。
Okay, so you have noticed, right, the change in speed. We have here special conditions, so we can choose, for example, if we want only flashcards that include specific words. For example, I may want to show just days of the week. So I can tell the program to use those specific words. So here you go. Okay, so we can also put here regular expressions, which I don't know if you know, but enclosed between dashes. You can use, for example, if you want, for example, only words that start by inter. You can use this regular expression and then interested, interested again, but we could also get interesting, interests, etc. Okay, it's going to retrieve words which adjust to those regular expressions. Okay, then we can also get some more controls about the transition between flashcards and the transition between pairs. With these other options, TTS is not enabled. Okay, and here the transitions between flashcard 1 and flashcard 2 and between flashcard pairs. We can choose it to be automatic at the speed we want. For example, this will take 2 seconds since the second flashcard is shown, and 4 seconds is the time that goes by between every pair. Okay, so here it's always going to be the same speed. So with this option you can always know how long it is going to run, to take. Okay. And we can play with these options. We can set the transition to be manual for both changes, and then it's only going to change when we press this button at the bottom when we press the key F. Okay, so this is, we have more control like this. And we can choose, for example, that we want to be flashcard 1 and 2 to show at the same time. You see. So this is more or less the options that you have available for this little game. Okay, let's try, for example, I don't know, let's example Portuguese too. Let's see, French. French to Mandarin Chinese.
Je ne l'aime pas.
我不喜欢他。
Qu'est-ce que tu crois que j'étais en train de faire?
你觉得我之前在做什么？
Le moteur de la voiture cassa en route.
汽车的发动机在路上坏了。
Il est dommage que vous ne puissiez vous rendre à la fête.
很遗憾您不能去派对。
So this is basically the flashcards program. Which improvements could be done? For example, you will have noticed that the seconds that it takes to retrieve the sentences here are greater when we have languages with a lot of sentences. This performance speed maybe could improve if we make some changes in the database. For example, if in this table of links I can add a column with a counter and have, for example, all sentences that are from Spanish to English, then 1, the following one 2, the following one 3, and then I can just, when I look for a random sentence, choose a random number lower than the total of sentences from English to Spanish, and then retrieve one sentence. Because if you know a little bit of SQL language, if we have this this function order by rand, which is very, very time consuming, and this is what is causing the performance to be a little slow. Okay, by adding these 2 columns here and the indexes, it has improved considerably, but it's still low for several language pairs. So, but the problem is that adding another column for a counter or adding another column which or maybe resorting this table so it's sorted by source language and target language. This processing takes a very long time, so because I wanted to be able to update the database frequently, I didn't want a very long post-processing time. So I chose to leave it this way for now, but this could be improved. Okay, also since we have seen that we have this API, and the API is independent of the front, so maybe we could just build a mobile app, an app for mobile phones which uses this API, because this serves the random sentences as well. And we can choose the number we want to show. And it's the same. Also, we could include more text or text-to-speech for more languages, maybe by using Python libraries, or maybe, I don't know, because we'll translate. I know that they have text-to-speech for more languages than the ones that are included here. And maybe you could, somebody could think, because I would like very much to see this romanization in Tatoeba, and text-to-speech also I think it would be a very interesting feature for Tatoeba as well. But as for now, I hope that you enjoy this little game, and I hope that you have a good time learning languages with it. Okay?
Cuando yo vine a Alemania en el año 2001, apenas hablaba alemán.
Когда я приехал в 2001 году в Германию, я едва говорил по-немецки.
¿Vas a estar listo a las 5?
Ты будешь готов в 5.
Dicen que estudias mucho.
Говорят, что ты усердно учишься.
So thank you for having listened to me until this point, and bye.